Evening everybody, welcome into your box seat, brought to you in association with Woodland Stud and of course Sweet Lou standing there. Michael Guerin, Kai Calder on Monday. In fact, the 2 days were nothing short of outstanding. When was the last time you were there?
No, I reckon 5 or 6 years ago. Hi everybody, hope you had a great Wednesday. I had to go home with you and Mark McNamara in the car afterwards and I was bored off my nut, so I promised I would never go there again. To be honest, I was pretty bored by Sunday's program too. I thought it was pretty average. Monday was absolutely awesome. Great occasion, as it always is. Greg, wonderful coverage, some cool interviews from you boys, but everything was secondary to what we saw on the Cup, and I'm not sure we've seen a better Cup trial since Christian Cullen winning the Ashburton Flying Stakes back in 99 or 98. So
98, yeah.
Pretty amazing what we saw from Lazarus, and it's now really hard as we go back to the Cup, Greg, to make any case for anything else, even though there are some great horses in the race. Bit of a bobble from the champ there. And
not only from him, but Titan Banner as well. First couple of strides, but like good horses, straight back down pacing. That's Buster Brady through on the inside there. I thought Dexter did exactly what he should have done. This was his opportunity to park the champ. He did that and send a message to the other drivers out there that if he gets the front in the Cup, the lead won't be there for anything else.
Well, he had to roll the dice, because if you don't roll the dice at Kaikoura on this track and say to Lazarus, you're staying out there, then you can't do it in the Cup. So clearly you do it now and you find out whether you're good enough. We'll find out the answer to that in about 2 minutes' time. Probably the one thing we saw all weekend, it's just so hard to make ground at Kaikoura because they don't slow down, the track's fast. Around about here, I think Mark Purdon thought to himself, look, I might have a dig for the lead.
Once they got on the straight line, I was thinking exactly the same, and we'll see that very shortly.
And another thing that really surprised me is how wide, all day, the tracking shots in the back straight, how wide they came down that back straight. They got like 3 cart widths off from the marker peg. So once you get to this stage at Kaikoura, you can't hand up anymore, and Mark knows he's out there. Happy with the way Lazarus handled the flattish track.
Well, you see him a couple of times, Michael, lifting his head and that. He wasn't, and right there you can see, just not totally comfortable, but you knew here Mark was going to have a dip.
You know what, that wasn't a straight line though, so I'm thinking that wasn't so much about the track, that's more the Murphy blind, or the fact that he probably didn't like being restrained and being outside the leader. The reason I'm happy with the way he handled the flatter track is Gloucester Park, Inter Dominions. He's favourite for the Inter Dominions with the TAB. That's coming up, of course, after this Cup Carnival in 2 weeks' time. So round about here, Greg, everything back in the field's got no chance. We're aware of that. And of those, No Doctor Needed was outstanding, finishing third. But Dexter's free rolling in front with a big, strong, fit horse who won the Methven Cup. If Lazarus is going to be vulnerable, sitting parked, losing 1.5 lengths per bend, so that's 6 lengths over the trip, it was going to be round about here. What were you thinking round about here? Were you thinking there was a chance the leader could get away?
I did. The only thing I thought was quite significant was the 2 times Titan Banner had been to that track, he hadn't really handled it. So I thought right about here, if he can get alongside him, Lazarus, then he'd beat him. My confidence started to lift with Lazarus here because he did appear to get to him quite comfortably.
Okay, let's hear from Mark Mack, the closing stages of one of the great ever New Zealand Cup trials.
Princess, but it's Titan Banner. Claimed by Lazarus, he's gone to the lead, he's put a length and a half on Titan Banner. No Doctor Needed runs on well, but it's Lazarus. He'll upstage the Dolphins, he'll upstage the Whales, and he'll win the Alabar Kaikoura Cup. Lazarus has beaten Titan Banner and No Doctor Needed.
So a brilliant Cup trial. He went about exactly as good as you could possibly go there. Very good Titan Banner. I think he's clearly in the top 4 mix. And No Doctor Needed. He just keeps on going good races.
And being driven for what he is, which is a horse not good enough to win those races against Lazarus, but good enough to run in the money. 0.6 of a second off Terra Love's national record over 2,400 metres. That was set at Ashburton, which Kaikoura is fast, but Ashburton is faster. So to do that, considering when he did that, Terra Love won the Cup that year, is huge. 54 seconds home at Kaikoura, sitting parked. As I said, you lose 6 lengths, 1.5 lengths per bend, going around 4 bends, sitting parked outside a good horse in Titan Banner. That would suggest to us, it's impossible to say he's better than last year, Greg, because he won the Cup by 10 lengths, but he's at least as good going in, and maybe there's still some improvement there. I guess there's not a lot to say after a race like that, but we thought we'd ask Mark Purdon anyway.
Standing performance once again, but it's exactly what we've come to expect from him.
Yeah, look, he's just an amazing horse, Greg, and he takes something out of him. He sat out there and, moved up, put a bit of pressure on down the back, and he just moves every time you ask him.
You may have thought the lead was there, but I guess at this stage of the preparation leading into the Cup, Dexter had to try it out, didn't he? He had to try and park you and beat you that way, but once he has got alongside Titan Banner, who's clearly one of his toughest rivals for the Cup, he really put paid to him pretty comfortably.
Yeah, he did, Greg. As I said, I put the pressure on because I thought if it's a sprint home, they can all pretty well sprint as good as one another, but, try and outstay him, it's a tougher task.
It certainly is. OK, going forward to the Cup now, does he need another run? Will we see him at the Cup trial?
You probably see him at the Cup trial, Greg, and you'll wait to see how he comes through that, but this run rather, and make a decision, but it's probable that he'll be there.
Mark, on behalf of everyone who's here today and all his fans around the country, thanks for bringing him to Kaikoura. They've had a pretty tough time, and I'm sure they're rapt to have him here. Congratulations on another Kaikoura Cup for you.
Yeah, thanks, Greg, and thanks for all the people that have turned up to see him. He's a great horse, and I hope you all go home and got something to talk about.
Michael, I'm always loath to use the champion tag, but the way I would define a champion is a horse that's basically unbeatable. Christian Cullen went through that 15-16 race period where he was doing that, now he's doing it.
Very much so. He's still beatable, I would suggest, if a bit of bad luck comes his way, but he's taking bad luck out of play because his manners are so good. He's a very strong horse. I'm a great believer that when those good stallions are in the zone, they just have so much testosterone in their systems, they become almost unbeatable, as you said. Where does it leave us for 2 weeks' time? It's impossible to make a case that he'll be beaten in the Cup unless he gallops away, because we're looking at 12 or even 11 starters in the Cup, and we do have the news now that Tiger Tara is coming, which is good. He's going to be off the front line. His manners are good, so he should work to the lead. The horses most likely to be in front of him, Titan Banner, well, clearly on that you hand up. Clearly now you hand up, because you can't win parking him. You can run second handing up, and that's your job now in the Cup, is to run second. The stablemates obviously hand up, the rest of them have no chance of parking him. So he's going to be in front in the Cup, all things being equal, with a lap to go. Maybe 2 months ago, in that situation, they envisage or they entertain Gregory the option of handing the lead to Heaven Rocks and following him, as they did in the race last year. The Heaven Rocks we've seen since that was part of the thought process hasn't been good enough to do it. Lazarus has gone forward. If he's in front on the Cup, he stays there and surely he wins. That's not saying it will happen, but you can't make a case for anything else. Obviously, one punter agrees. Somebody had 20,000 on him on Monday. The thing with that is, it might still win, but it's actually a bad bet, because $1.55, 20,000, if he's scratched any time between now and then, you lose that money. I applaud it. Beautiful, big kahunas, good on you. I love that sort of stuff. But once the final field comes out, Greg, he's probably $1.50, and you get the money back if he's scratched. So it'll probably win the bet. Would I have done it? No.
What about how close are we to having a Lazarus out market? I'm pretty sure they will have one, like they had with Mombay in the Haraz de Trotters Dominion before he came out, if you like. Surely that's got to be a carrot now for people to want to get involved in this race.
And if you do have a Lazarus out market, what punters are doing is looking for who they think will potentially lead the race early, then hand to him. Dream About Me and Titan Banner being the obvious ones. Here's a bit of viewer feedback, and just talking about one of our viewers, and I'm sure some others, think Alan Simpson. Al's from the Hawke's Bay region, I think. He wants to see him
paid out.
So,
as in stake-wise.
So I think that's a little bit premature, Al, because
it is a race at the end of the day.
I wouldn't say shorter priced favourites than him have been beaten, because there's never been a shorter priced favourite than him in the Cup. But hey, it's still a long way to go yet. There's 13 days to go, and a lot stranger things have happened. Look at Winks the other day. Winks was a bigger certainty than Lazarus, and she got run to a long neck by Humidor. So you're still going to run the races, and he's no certainty, because it's a very talented bunch, and if he does miss away, strange things can happen. But all the conversations between now and then, and here's that little skip at the start, but that's minimal at best. And Kaikoura is a tricky place, crowd both sides of you. let's talk about odds. So I'm thinking he's $1.55, 60.
Yeah.
I know he's $1.45
is,
at the moment,
yeah.
no, but I'm talking on the tote on the day, because the bookies now just turn the tap right off. So $1.60, maybe $1.65 on the day.
Yeah, I think he'll settle about that tote-wise as well.
Well, what do the drivers behind him have to say? Because what can they say?
Well, exactly. Well, we'll get to those in a moment. Don't forget, there's a couple of Calcuttas during the week, and there are other ways to get involved in Cup Week, and the Oldhurst Hotel do host one for the West Melton Rugby Club at 6 o'clock, and then they have one for the Galloping Cup on Thursday at the Racecourse Hotel. So there's a couple of opportunities for you to get involved pre-Cup
If you go
week.
to the Calcutta, make sure you record the box seat preview show. It'll be outstanding.
7 o'clock.
I can tell you what I'm picking now if you want to know.
Yeah, okay, righto. Let's go to those just in behind the superstar.
Same story once again, Dexter. Lazarus in front of you.
Yeah, it's probably like those fellas over in Aussie having to race Winks, I think, with him, Matt, because he's that good. But, you know, we gave it a crack. My fella went great. You can't take anything away from his run, but he tried his best. But Lazarus is just too good, which he's proven over the years now. So, but could be more happier.
A couple of drives on her now this time in. Johnny, how did she feel out there today?
Yeah, another good, honest race. You know, we followed the win all the way, but he was just too good. But you know, she's had 2 runs this time in, and I think they've both been track records. So you know, she's there, but she's just still a couple lengths behind them. But you know, each run she's having, she'll pick it up, and you know, hopefully she should be thereabouts Cup Day.
John, better be amazed. Was a tough lot out there. What did you make of her run?
I was wrapped with her, sort of missed the way slightly and sort of tailed them out throughout. But the way she sort of found the line and made ground was, you'd have to be wrapped with her.
Tim, what did you make of his run out there today?
Yeah, look, man, I thought it was another encouraging run. He's obviously needs the racing now. He's a pretty big boy, and it's taken a while to trim up. So, you know, I was pretty pleased with the run today. You know, he ran up to them up the straight. He was probably a wee way off them, but he got held up on the bend on that slippery time, which you can't do around here. But, you know, I was really pleased with him.
So that was the Beaten Brigade. Here is the place market. Now, this is worth a look.
Well, the reason we're showing you this is because it's unusual. Heaven Rocks is second favourite to win the Cup, around the $5 mark. Dream About Me is third favourite, but in the place market, because of the concerns over Heaven Rocks' manners and the fact that nobody trusts him, Dream About Me, Greg's $1.45 and Heaven Rocks is $1.80. So that's quite incredible. She's incredibly short for
I'm
a
not
place.
too sure how that works though, because I'll be honest, I've backed Dream About Me to run a place at $3.30. So how it's opened at $2.60? Did she get the drifts?
She did. She started $2.60, went out to $3.30 because obviously she got beaten in the first couple of starts. Also, there was money early doors for Have Faith in Me. Heaven Rocks, of course, was massively plunged. And most of our place prices work on the same algorithm as the win. But this is different. The bookies have now said, we're going to take that out of play and give you Heaven Rocks at a decent place price. Now, Tiger Tara is coming. He's racing at Menangle this week. And providing all things go well, he's coming across. Ran second in the race last year.
Michael,
not suggesting he can win.
Is Heaven Rocks in your top 3 at this stage?
It depends whether you're picking what you think will finish 1, 2, 3, or whether you're picking the best 3 winning chances in the race.
Well,
they're two different things.
Lazarus is the winning chance.
Yes.
I'm talking about if you were to find the best 2 place options.
No, he's not my best 2 place options, no, because I'm not sure he's going to be in a place in the race where it's easy to run a place from. Titan Banner, Dream About Me are horses who usually ping away, can sit on the marker pegs. They have 3,200 metre form. She won an Auckland Cup. He ran third in a Cup last year. He's probably the second best horse in the race, but I'm not totally convinced about that because Dream About Me could be a very special mare. Spoke to Mark Purdon at length yesterday about a couple of things here, just going through some of the others too. Be Amazed, obviously not going to the Cup. Mark is certain at this stage, depending on how they go in the Cup, to take Lazarus, Dream About Me and Have Faith in Me to the Inter-Dominions. So they leave on Thursday. They can't be in the free-for-all. They would be split in the heats. Confirmed this yesterday with Michael Radley from Gloucester Park. They would be split in the heats, 1 per heat, and Piccadilly Princess would probably go for the mares races. Dream About Me and the Inter-Dominions, really interesting. 2,900 metre mobile. She may not beat Lazarus in Inter-Dominion, but Gregory, she's got a huge chance of going there and getting some serious money. So those 3 big names could be gone. I think 1 or 2 of them will stay for the Fremantle Cup and the WA Cup mid-January. That's $750,000 worth of races, then head to the Hunter Cup. I think when Lazarus leaves here, about the 16th of November, he may not race here again this season. So get to Cup Week, because
you wanna see him.
his New Zealand Cup start could be the last chance you get to see him in this country this season.
And he'll be in the Cup trial, so if you want to go to that as well, it'll be 6 o'clock. Yes, 6 o'clock as per the norm next Wednesday. We'll have that with a live box seat and all of the latest information out of the Cup Day trial.
Buster Brady, is he going to the Cup?
Yes, he is. Yes, spoke
Okay.
to Kyle Austin only a few moments ago, actually, and he's confirmed to be starting.
So,
He didn't really get Kaikoura.
Are we thinking 11 starters?
Yeah, 11, maybe 12.
Maybe 12. I'm
Yeah.
glad Ty Katara is coming.
Oh,
it's good for the race. It'll
it is.
increase Australian interest, a different set of colours, because it's always a great race. It's an occasion like the Melbourne Cup, but it's a little bit like Winks the other day. There's not a lot to say about the rest. You're hoping they go well, but it's impossible to make a case they're going to win the race unless something happens in the
And
next
for
week.
someone like Kyle Austin, it is a lifelong ambition to
it
have a
is.
runner in the Cup. So,
Mate, he's from Canterbury.
And it's still a horse race.
Everybody in Canterbury wants to have a horse in the New Zealand Cup. I think it's great he's going to have one.
Trotters. That is intriguing at the moment, isn't it? This horse, Bordeaux, went back to Kaikoura where he was successful last year. That's him in the yellow breastplate. He didn't make a flying beginning because there were a few around that did. The foot tapper was one of those, as was Tornado Valley and wider out Destiny Jones, but inevitably he got to the front.
This is the crucial part of this race. Traffic inside, traffic outside, traffic in front of him. He might have galloped here, right here. I looked at him and thought, oh no, he's going to go up in the air. No.
That's Mark Cooler to his outside.
He held his gate, and he held it beautifully. That was, to me, the sign that Bordeaux is a more mature, like a lot of horses who have been to open class for one season. He's better rounded now. What he goes on and wins after this is largely, I thought, what he would be able to do. But the fact he held his gate, Greg, into that extremely tight situation, on a flat track, crowds and cars and all that stuff in your field of vision, that to me suggested he's now the horse to beat in the Dominion.
So that's the foot tapper working off the trail, back out and around, taking over from Tornado Valley. But here's where he goes to the lead. Destiny Jones is still planted out there 3 wide. Mark Cooler, I thought, was a lot better. We'll get to his finishing burst once they get to this position in another lap.
Here's a gallop about 500 from 400 from home, and I thought he was out of play. But at least he wanted to be there, Mark Cooler.
Yeah, I spoke to Clint Ford about that. He is now of the opinion, stallion, older, no problems with quarter cracks, all of those sorts of things are really starting to round this horse and get him somewhere near best. Michael, we only have to go back 12 months ago. He was running Mombay very close in the New Zealand free-for-all. I know what you're going to say to me here. I know you're going to say, no, he's not back to where he was. He's getting closer.
Oh no, that was better the other day, by a mile. And this track doesn't suit him, big, long, striding horse like him. It was actually a bit of a nightmare race. There was a lot of pushing and shoving and horses getting forced back. And it was a race where if you didn't go any good, willing to forgive. There's old Shimon at the back. And
he won this race back in 2014. The other horse I wanted to talk to you about is Ronald J. That's him full back on the fence. Very, very inexperienced. First up in a wee while. We never worry about that with Paul Nairn's horses. Only had the 10 starts. His performance here
really good
would almost be enough to make a late nom. What would you do if he was yours?
I don't think he needs to go to the Dominion. I'm not sure it's a good race for him, but there's plenty of other options, and there's a huge array of races over the summer in the north. So there's Bordeaux in front. Shimon comes wide. Mark Cooler goes for a gallop here. So Mark Cooler's in midfield, and he gallops. And I thought, OK, he's out of play, but he actually got back down into his gate. So that's Mark Cooler in the middle of the bunch. Just there, just coming wide. And he had a little bit of a knee bobble. And I thought, just there.
There he gets
got a bit of a check.
Yep.
Yeah, and I thought, look.
That might have been the end for him, but...
No, he was good. And even Shimon out wide was all right, but he trotted rough during the race.
Look at Ronald J.
Yeah, Ronald J was excellent, but Bordeaux, I thought the story of the race, Greg, smooth, well-handled, lots of positives. He's at least as good as this time last year, and the 3 horses who beat him home in the Dominion last year aren't here. Monbay, Quite a Moment, and Kai Valley Blue. So he's in a race he can win. With great things happen, I think the other horse who's emerged, we're going to see more of Dark Horse at Addington on Friday night, and she's another one who could step into that. She's against Ronald J. Excellent meeting there Friday night. But what did Dex have to say about a horse I'm sure he's got a lot of time for, because he's a beautiful looking horse.
Congratulations, Dex. He's gone back to back, and this year was a tactical battle early.
There's a few of us charging into that first bend, and You know, I was sort of stuck in the middle there, but he was just over raced a bit hitting that first spin with horses around him, but probably good experience for him. He doesn't have that much, so he got through that stage and we found the front. And I've driven this horse a few times now, Greg, but I reckon today's the best he's ever felt.
He's clearly got better than what he did last year, and what he did last year was well, quite exceptional. We know he'll get the 2 mile in the Dominion, and his preparation so far has been ideal.
Yeah, you always seem like the horse that's going to get better with age and grow up a little bit, and last year's racing will definitely help him for this year. And like you said, his run the Dominion last year was great, set up a good time, and you know, he covers the ground so well, he can clip it along at quick times. So yeah, it's all looking promising. Hopefully he keeps improving like he has this time in.
He's flashy, he's great to look at. The ladies will love him for sure. And Philip Igoe, I want to talk about him because he doesn't have a big team, but gee, his strike rate's great.
It is brilliant, Greg, and you know, he always knows if they're spot on when they come to the races, and if they're not, he usually doesn't bring them. So it gives you a lot of confidence when you get to sit behind them, and especially a horse with this kind of ability, you know, they're coming in 100%. You can drive them like that and they keep running for you.
Well done to you, mate. 3rd win on the day, and yeah, you'd be loving this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's beautiful, mate. We even had this at Invercargill yesterday, so it wasn't bad either, so bring on summer.
An informed Dexter Dunn. Here's a question for you at home and for you, Gregory. Who was the last good open class chestnut horse in New Zealand? Wouldn't it be many?
Trotter of David and Catherine Butts.
Gold,
I reckon.
Yeah, so it won this race a national record time. Haven't been many, have there, over the years?
No, there hasn't.
They're a rare breed. Beaten drivers. I thought Ronald J. You obviously spoke to these dudes.
Well, it was actually Matthew Cross.
Was it really? Oh, the
he
hat.
wanted to be.
What about the hat?
Well, I got
my
told
God.
the day before
Couldn't
that
you
it
boys
looked
thought-
ridiculous.
Can somebody out there who owns a hat factory please send us some hats that would fit these idiots? Because this was almost embarrassing. But anyway, Matt Cross spoke to the beaten drivers in his silly hat.
John, talk me through the run of the foot tapper today.
Just sort of got off on the wrong foot from the get-go, Matt, and still trotted away, but had to sprint really hard that first 800, especially to find the front and hand up. So to finish where he did, very happy.
With a viewpoint to the Dominion, does he feel like a horse who could be competitive in a race like that?
Yeah, definitely. He's a great follower of any speed, so it's a big forte of him, and he's got good manners, so yeah, two pluses for him, so definitely a good chance at Dominion.
Super run, Matty, against first go against the big boys. Yeah, rap with him.
Where do we expect to see him go now?
Well, I don't know. I think he's thinking about lining him up on Friday before the race, but I'm not sure now. And then I suppose it's free for all.
12 months' time, could we see him back here winning a race like this?
Oh, definitely. I think, yeah.
Okay, Clint, talk me through today's efforts from Markula.
Oh yeah, no, he's improved. He's gone good. Hit the line good. Probably like we were 3 wide there for the first 800 metres, and then probably got carted back a wee bit and just a bit far off them for the run home. But no, he's run home real good. Much improved from last week.
Okay, with a view to the Dominion, you're pleased with the progress going forward?
Yeah, without a doubt. No, he felt as good as the old Markula there today.
Okay, where do we expect to see him? Do we see him before the Dominion, or will you straight in?
I will be on Cup Day, free for all.
Robbie Hayo, what did you make of it?
Didn't probably step as cleanly as what we would have liked. I gave her a couple of stands in the plim and she stepped away quite nicely, but yeah, she just had a wee rear at the start and then got away, which put her back in the pack. And so then we got a check with probably nearly a mile to go, I suppose. And yeah, we had to actually take hold, and by the time I got round one, it was just a good option to head forward, I thought. So yeah, but she just didn't quite find the line as good as what we probably hoped.
She's been good this campaign, Ricky. What did you make of her efforts out there today?
Oh no, she went pretty good. I got a terrible run early, you know, just about crossed the park in front of Bordeaux, and I end up 3 wide. So you just got to forget about that one and carry on to the next one.
Yeah, with a viewpoint to the Dominion, is the team happy with where she's at?
Yeah, I was quite pleased for the work she done, where she finished. You know, she went as good as she could go under the circumstances.
So those were the Beaten Brigade in behind the very talented Bordeaux. Stick around, we're going to catch up with Bordeaux's trainer, Philip Igoe, and find out a little bit more about him and the way he trains his horses. Yes, your box seat continues here. It is a great pleasure to welcome to the show leading trotting trainer, his strike rate impeccable. Philip Igoe joins us on the line. Philip, welcome to the box seat and congratulations on what you've achieved this season with Bordeaux. Of course, he won the Canterbury Park Cup and then he was outstanding at Kaikoura.
Thanks very much, Greg. Yes, it's been a wonderful first start to the season for us.
Tell us about this horse because, he showed us immense talent right from the first time we saw him at a race meeting. Now he's won 10 races, so was the talent evident that early?
No, not really, Greg. He looked like a nice horse only early on, and the first real signs we saw of him being anything special was when Matthew Williamson drove him in a invitational race at Oamaru on the grass, and he flew home from fairly well back, and Matt was very impressed with him at that point and said, gee, I think you've got a nice horse here. And that was the beginning of a sequence of 5 straight wins. And I guess with each win, we thought this looks even more interesting. So that's how it developed.
And I guess you know a little bit about being a successful trotting trainer and when you've got yourself a good horse, because this is not the first one. Little Band of Gold did a great job for you. And if we go back to the 90s, I think you had Osh Gosh, By Gosh and maybe Golly Gosh and a few others of a similar name. So you've been around the trotting game for a while.
Seems like a long time, Greg, actually, yes, but we have, and we have certainly enjoyed some success. I think Bordeaux is the best that we've had thus far, although the Fat Controller gave us a lot of pleasure just the same.
Yeah, the Fat Controller, he was a very, very handy horse for sure. We're just having a look at last year in Bordeaux winning, so he's gone back-to-back at Kaikoura. A little bit about your background as well, Philip, because you were talented sports-wise. You're a former golf pro. That is a wee while ago now.
I think it's another lifetime, actually, Greg.
What about the golf? What happened there? Why did you not continue to pursue that?
Well, I was involved in that business for maybe 10 or 15 years. I guess I just burnt out a little bit on it, really, and always had a yearning to go farming. And we bought a small farm up at a place called Okuku, which is just north of Loburn in Christchurch, and that was where we initially got involved with the breeding of horses, particularly with the standing of a stallion called Gee Whiz, who we had quite a bit of success with.
Philip, just on your training philosophy here, Michael Guerin here, do you straight track train?
Yes, almost exclusively, Mick. We've got a 960-metre track, and we do have an oval track as well, but I use a straight track every day.
Okay, so how do you use that, and what's the philosophy behind that? I mean, do you just burn them up down the track, then slow them up a little bit, turn them around and burn them up again, or do you interval train? How does it actually work?
I take Bordeaux down, for example. It's about 700 or 800 metres to the track, and I'll go up and down twice. So I guess that's about 3,600 metres, and then from that point he'll work 5 sets of 600 metres. Typically run the first 4 somewhere between 50 and 53 or 4 seconds, and then the last one he'll work at fairly significant speed and run that at about 45 seconds, which is the equivalent to a half and a minute, which you'll be familiar with.
Yeah. Okay, Philip, with the trotters, obviously, and you've had a great deal of success with them, shoeing is crucial, making sure they don't tie up is crucial. How do you work around that? Who does all your shoeing, for example? And secondly, what do you feed them to keep them on an even keel?
We have a very good farrier called Nick Grant, and I try to get them into aluminium shoes as soon as possible, but they've got to be well gated for that, as you can appreciate. The Fat Controller and Bordeaux both have aluminium shoes, and our other handy trotter, Musculus, is not quite to that point yet. Feeding-wise, we certainly don't feed any oats. We just have a standard feed that's supplied by a local stock firm. But we are always on the edge a little bit with tying up with Bordeaux for sure, and we've been caught out once or twice. So that's a continuing area where we can come unstuck.
He's a Love You, obviously, Philip, and I think everybody in the country now realises what Love You is doing for our breed. Is this something we need to investigate more? You've imported a stallion before. Is it time we started to try and get better French blood into this country for the legacy of our breed going over the next 2 decades?
Yes, I think that's where the strength of breeding lies in France rather than, or Europe probably more so, rather than America. I think the speed came from America, but the depth is in Europe. And there's such a vast market over there, Mick. I guess the real dream is for our horses to become competitive enough so that we may be able to actually sell some to Europe, because at this stage our only real market for trotters have been Australia and America, and that's obviously the only place that paces can be sold to. But for the trotters, there's a vast opportunity out there if we could just get a little better.
Philip, preparation-wise now for Bordeaux, first of all, does he go to the free-for-all or is it straight into the Haras de Trotteurs Dominion, or is there a cup trial between now and then?
Oh, gee, I'm always thinking about these things, Greg. I'm never really sure what to do. But, no, one thing's for sure, he won't go on Cup Day to the mobile start. He will go straight to the Dominion. Trial beforehand, no, probably not. I've just been trying to be careful to utilise his good manners with the start, because I think he seems to enjoy things when he's in front. Dexter has great confidence in the horse, so we just try to keep on an even keel and utilise the few areas that we might have a small advantage.
Question for you, Philip, about coming back to Auckland. He had a couple of gallops there last year. If you're straight track training, how do you prepare a horse to go right-handed when you don't have any bends at home?
Yes, it's a good question, Mick. It's a bit of an issue where I do get caught out from time to time. He does wear a boring pole on the inside for when he's going around the Addington Way, and on the offside, the other side when he's going the Auckland Way, just to try to keep his head straight. But he learns quite quickly to be aware of that and keep his head straight. He actually now seems to be more comfortable the Auckland Way rather than the Addington Way. That's just a feeling I have with him. So it's always there, but it's just, I think the advantages of the straight track outweigh perhaps the disadvantage of not being quite as used to an oval track as you've mentioned.
You mentioned before Musculus, a horse that has a fair amount of ability, Philip. How far do you think he might end up getting?
I think the middle grade, certainly, Greg. I'm not sure whether he has quite the high speed that's required for the top grade. He's a wee bit like a horse that you mentioned earlier on called Little Band of Gold, who was really only capable of trotting a quarter at barely quicker than 29 seconds, and that just stopped him from being a really good horse. Maybe Musculus is a little bit like that. He stays well, but perhaps when he gets into those better races and more experience, he may develop some more speed, but he would need to.
Philip, one question before we let you go, and thanks for joining us today. It's been great to find out more about you. How would you go today, all these years after retiring, against Greg O'Connor in a game of golf? Because we know Greg also has some ability. Would you beat Greg? Be honest. Don't feel scared to shame him.
Well, I don't know how he plays, Mick, so that's pretty tough to answer.
So he's a nobody on the golfing circuit. Oh, I'm very happy to hear that, Philip. Very happy to hear that.
Well, at some stage we might have to test this out, Philip, and we'd love to come out and see you do your business on the straight track too. Hey, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today, and all the very best in your preparation towards the Group 1.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
He sounds like a smart guy, Philip.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously thinking all the time. Talking about golf, what about this? This has absolutely nothing to do with harness racing, but I'm sure plenty of people at home love a good golf. We love social media here on the box seat. This is a young New Zealand golfer called Tanya Tare. And Jason Tarn, one of our golfing trackside friends, put me onto this on Twitter. I showed you today in the green room. What about the skills on this incredible young New Zealand athlete?
Yeah, so she plays on the lower tier over there.
Just
I won't be
crazy.
attempting that, and wouldn't suggest you do either, because you will make a fool of yourself.
That's it.
Thanks for setting me up there with Philip, a former golf pro taking on old amateur over
cut it
here.
out. I'll play golf with you. I'm never playing it again. I haven't got the patience for golf, but that's awesome. You can get that Tanya Taris on Twitter. Amazing to see New Zealand young athletes doing crazy stuff like that. And hey, on the other side, we need to talk about the Sile Stakes. This Sile Stakes is becoming a crazy race.
Before we go to this break, Bordeaux, can he win? Can he win the Dominion?
Look, I think great things happen as good as him. Whichever one's in front of the other has a huge tactical advantage, because both very hard to run down, both big, beautiful sons of Love You.
Yeah, well, I'm with Habibti Ivy, so there you go.
No, oh, she's also by Love You.
Yeah, exactly. I Love You trifecta potentially.
Nobody asked you what you were.
No, I know that. I just chucked it in because you don't really care what I think.
Philip Igo would beat you in golf.
Yeah,
Let us know this.
good as gold. Break for us. When we come back, heaps of cool stuff still to come. Yeah, hard to beat, isn't it? Kaikoura on a good day. In fact, they've had about 10 years in a row where it's been brilliant, but it was nothing short of outstanding. There's a good horse, Nandolo. You see him go?
Oh, and they backed it too. Lovely bit of work from Coaster Howe, one of the good guys in the game. And we saw another good horse there too, Pat's Delight. Franco Tai, let's get to him first though. Franco Tai winning a $50,000 race at the age pace, and lovely drive from Nude. It just went beautifully well for him, and to be honest, Greg, there was only 2 winning chances here, an awfully long way from home.
He finished second in the race last year, of course.
And he comes up the inside and off he does again. Hey, this would be, I think, close, apart from neck time, close to Terry and Glennis's biggest win.
Yeah, they've had it. They won the in Queensland, of course.
Apart from neck times wins,
and the Southland Oaks as well. So
good on them.
And it's been not a huge fillip for them in the last 18 months. They've sold a lot of horses and a lot of stables.
They've got a young team. It's bloody hard with a young team. But for trainers like them, it's also hard to not sell horses. So I respect that, but he's always been a good horseman, and Glennis has always been a fantastic horseman.
And it was typical of the day on speed, where things turned to custard for many runners, including the likes of Mongolian Hero and a few others, was the start of the race. So we're going to go back and have a look at that. There were 2 or 3 goes at this. It was a shambles. I think it's the only way to describe it. So you see there, Red Moon Rising beside it, Franco Tai, who's a notoriously very good beginner. Mark Purdon out wide with Major Hippie. I don't know if he'll have too many more starts in those colours. He didn't get the start. So it was a mess here. The butt runner there, Regal Major, gets it very wrong there. And there's a reaction, which we'll see further back, which basically took half them out of play. It was a mess, Michael.
Dreadful standing start, but by no means takes away from Franco Tai, because he got things right and they get punished for what happened. 3.5 minutes running late. This just makes me think one thing and one thing only heading into the next 2 weeks. I hope we have a fair and good start to the New Zealand Trotting Cup. Small field we should, not taking away from Franco Tai. He did things right. He deserved to win this race, but that was an embarrassment. 3.5 minutes late with horses dicking around, and it was... Surely we're better than that, but...
Anyway, in the Simon colours, congratulations to them. They were the neck-time people as well, so they've been great supporters of...
Never saying we shouldn't have standing starts. No. We just need to be cleaner about the way we do them, because the horses who stuff around often are the ones who aren't disadvantaged, and the horses who stand there often are the ones who are disadvantaged.
Major Hippie was a good example of that. Anyway, moving on to Pat's Delight, who of course has already won a sire stakes heat, turned up at Kaikoura. This is him. And he's a little bit too good for Mongolian Storm, who was exceptional, I still thought, first up, because he burnt early off the gate.
This is a good horse. He's come out from behind horses he shouldn't have been able to come from behind and beat them 2 starts in a row now. He's in a good stable with a great driver. He adds to this very complex sire stakes picture when you add American Brave, who came out and won at Alexandra Park, King of Swing, who's won a Breeders' Crown. It's easy to think when you look at the field this week, it's going to be a Mark Purdon, Natalie Rasmussen-a-thon, the sire stakes. But let's not forget the Dorchester, for a good bunch of owners, also heading to the race. There's enough depth here in the opposition. I think this could be the most fun sire stakes final of the lot.
Well, when you consider Cup Week, normally we're looking forward to the New Zealand Cup, and we will be, and it'll be a great race. But clearly the sire stakes, a lot of depth there, and of course our featured trot races. So there's still a lot to look forward to, isn't it?
The trots I'm not so barred up about.
Oh, really?
Well, you know what? I love them. I love the open class. Trotters are my favourite horses in the sport, but we don't see...
The favourite horses in your sport are the ones you back and win.
I love the trotters. I've been lucky enough to drive a couple of good trotters, and I love them because they're so smooth. But we don't see the best of our trotters over Cup Week. It's just done wrong. It's done wrong, and no one can convince me anything else. The Dominion should be on Cup Day. American Brave went to Alexandra Park last week in this very dramatic improvement curve. He's the horse on the trail for a very informed Steve Telfer. Horse outside the lead has gone huge. King of Swing won the Breeders' Crown, won a heat of this series. We know how good he is.
What about the horse in the blue colours?
Runs past him, and the debutant in the blue colours, finishing third. This is even more depth. I don't think he can win a sire stakes because it might be too early for him, and he's very, very new, this horse, but he's an open class horse.
Think about me. Whew. Phenomenal. But you're right about American Brave. He's a really good horse.
So you take those 3, Pat's Delight, the Dorchester, who was national record setting at Ashburton, and what's an incredible sire stakes field this week. And away from the sire stakes on Friday, there's Chase Auckland and the Devil's Own. It's, as I said, it's the highlight of Cup Week for me. And the Sire Stakes is one race which typically hasn't been decided by the draws. A lot of horses come from very bad draws to win the Sire Stakes.
Gold Ace, Auckland Reactor,
The bookies
Sir
trying to
Lincoln.
trying to work this one out is going to be awesome fun. So it might be the highlight of the whole week, even though the emotion will be around the Lazarus.
Sticking with the Sire Stakes theme here, what about Bare Knuckle? First New Zealand side winner, of course, for Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Gee, this horse was good.
It was good. It was a weird race. The leaders just compounded, so the slingshotters went straight past them. But another filly for them who's top class. They've got 3 this week in the Sire Stakes fillies heat down south.
Headed up by last season's 2-year-old filly of the year, of course.
Almac. So look, things are really starting to warm up. This meeting on Friday night at Addington is close to premier grade because obviously the open class race is so strong. But you could change that bit of vision and tell them it's 10 different fillies from All Stars, and you could still make it believable.
Yeah,
they're
lovely,
just
long,
interchangeable
scopy.
parts
Yep.
in the same thing.
Yeah, she's very, very good. You've got some news from across the Tasman, Maryborough Cup.
Yeah, San Carlo's a horse who's heading to the Perth Inter-Dominions, and he was in a pretty good field the other day and easily beat Field Marshall, who, as we know, is a multiple Group 1 winner. That's him in front, San Carlo. You probably haven't heard much about him. Raced in the Victoria Cup and was an adequate 6th or 7th. There's Field Marshall outside him. San Carlo kicks away. He had the leader's advantage. Went no better than the second horse, but Greg, he's a horse who can't, I don't think, win the Perth Inter-Dominion for young Beck Barkley, but he's also a horse who we're going to see a lot more of in this program over the next couple of years. He's won 18 of 22 or something. He's a serious horse. San Carlo, that Inter-Dominion market is open, and Greg, it's shaping as a great Inter-Dominion. The top 10 page, the big 3 from the All-Stars, Chicago Bull, Shandale's racing, well, obviously Lenny the Shark, and Soho Tribeca, who's flying. That's before we get
As
to
you
horses
know.
like San Carlo.
Yeah, that's right. As we've said on the
Well,
show,
here it is.
There's going to be a new Inter-Dominion. Don't you think WA will be thinking now, finally, we've actually
Yeah, we've got it right.
what we wanted?
Yeah.
And,
Look,
yeah.
if that was your Inter-Dominion final field, that top 10, you'd be like, wow, that's a cool final. That's almost like back in the old days. We've got Taikatara, who's heading there via, on the same plane, obviously, as the Purdon horses, via Addington. So that top 10 there is an Inter-Dominion which takes you back to 2001 and 2000 when there was Yule Star and Shaker Maker and that sort of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's a long way away, though. We have a lot to go between now and then. Greg, it's only 6 weeks away, but it feels like ages.
Yeah, it does. As we go to the break, news through from Diane Cornane, of course, race Fight for Glory, the multiple Group 1 winner. She's had her first foal, and it's by Bettor's Delight, so I'm picking that filly's residual value for a start is enormous.
Group 1 winning, lovely big mare, won the Oaks races. She'll just leave a beautiful filly, so beautiful foal. So yeah,
They'll be celebrating that. A bloke who's a good friend of the show, Neil Pilcher, celebrated his 80th birthday the other day. That was
here he is at the
terrific. And a good place he spent a wee bit of time at, the Swamp Hotel.
Couple of things out of this picture. First of all, Pilcher's much loved in the industry. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy. He's the roughest of all rough diamonds. 80 years old, and he's lived 160 years in there. So amazing.
Raced
Happy
the
birthday
mighty
to Pilcher.
Pacer Smolder amongst a string of others that...
Secondly, just go to the bottom here, the bottom left-hand corner of this picture. What sort of shoes is Tony Herlihy wearing?
He's never been a fashion guru,
They
has he?
look like clogs. I'm not
Yeah.
sure exactly what's going on
Boots?
there.
They might even be his work
Seriously.
boots. Yeah.
Pilch, happy birthday belatedly from us for last week, big fella. As I said, Greg, he's done a lot of living in those 80 years.
He has. Inter-Island, he made that an iconic brand, that is for sure. Short break for us. When we come back, we'll preview the night at Addington Raceway, Friday night. It will be a beauty.
Okay, Cup Week is coming up. As you know, we're going to need some money, so where can we punt this weekend? Manawatu have the second day of their opening season carnival, and that's a $25,000 pick six actually tomorrow night. Good horse going there, Gentleman Sir. Won yesterday, and he's heading off to Tim Butts in Australia. He'll do a massive job. Alexandra Park is the undercard for us on Friday night. 9 races starting just after 6 o'clock. Alexandra Park is, Addington's the big dance. Greg, this is a cracking meeting. We'll look into this shortly. Sire Stakes for the boys and the girls, and of course an open class race. $25,000 picks, it should be more than that. Timaru, have a bit of a jog around on Saturday. The Sunday Green. You know, Saturday afternoon harness racing is always a good bit of fun. Clashing with Flemington, of course. So. And then we head down south to Invergiggle for their
100k they've got. Didn't get struck last week.
100k?
Yes, the Riverton Club's meeting there.
That might get me out of bed on time
the
on
Riverton
Sunday.
Trotting Cup there, which will feature My Wee Man, who was really good there last
It's a lot
Sunday.
of harness racing, but Friday night's the big one. Gee, it's a good meeting.
Yeah, it is. Blair Orange will be there. Good on him too.
Drove 2.
Yep, that's right. 3 seconds as well. Benjamin Butcher drove a couple of winners.
I tell you who drove beautifully yesterday. A guy called Andre Potama. Drove no horses who were favourites. Nothing in the Drivers' Challenge. He finished second at the Drivers' Challenge, under $10. Drove them as good as you can. It's not always about winning. He drove horses who aren't that good very, very well. Well done to you, Andre. Anyway, Friday night.
A lot of good horses going around here.
Moolah.
3 races in. Yeah, Moolah. Let's get into the first
Who wins this?
The features. Look, I'm picking, I haven't confirmed this as yet, but I'm picking Mark Purdon will drive Ultimate Machete. He gets 20 metres start off, Dream About Me, Have Faith in Me and Heaven Rocks. Dream About Me has an advantage over the other two because she'll begin a lot quicker. The way Ultimate Machete went though, he's half a chance of rolling to the lead if he does.
This conversation a month ago would have been totally different. A month ago we were talking Heaven Rocks can beat Lazarus. Since then he's been all over the place. This mare's been very good. Here she is. When you see this and Dream About Me's in front and you see how hard Laz has to work to get past her, he gets past her easy enough, but he still has to work hard, and then you put that template over what happened to Kaikoura. Then you go, wow, this is a big run. She's a mare in form, she's fighting.
There's Heaven Rocks though. Heaven Rocks was good.
He was good.
You're not convinced, are you?
Well, like, he was good, but I don't want to be backing horses this time of the year who can be back in the field. If Natalie launches him and he gets the lead in the middle stages, he'll be winning, probably. But I do not want to be backing horses back in the field anymore. And at Shepparton, he didn't make me go, oh yeah, he's back. He made me go,
Okay.
Because I'm not talking about talent, I'm talking about making money, Greg.
Yes.
We need money for Cup
Let's
League.
make some money.
It's expensive.
In the Alabar Sires Stakes.
It's more expensive for me. You're there with the wife. I'm there by myself.
Here is Al Mack making a return alongside Delight and Me and Better Tricks, who got beaten by Franco Tai, who's now come out and won the PGG Rights in age pace.
I don't know what to make of this. You're on track. Can you find out on Friday? Just go speak to the All-Stars
I'll speak to the All-Stars.
Who's going to win. They might be wrong. They've been wrong a few times this season, but let's go to the trials at Rangiroa last week, and Al Mack
finishes in 4th position. A reason I wanted to show you that's her there. Finishing behind her was Pat's Delight. Now, okay, Pat's Delight wasn't put in the race by Dex and just runs up right in behind them.
Is that Better Be Amazed outside the lead?
Yes, and Mongolian Storm, who only narrowly got beaten by Pat's Delight. So it's a deep sort of trial, and that's Ashley Lopez who won the Jewels. So, yeah, it's a deep trial.
Also back on Friday night, so I don't know what to make of that. I don't have an opinion. You go find out on Friday night. You can be in charge of that.
We'll tell the nation.
That'll be good. The whole nation? I don't think the whole nation will be watching, Greg. That's just arrogant.
There'll be a couple of people interested.
You're not that important.
Including you. Will you settle down?
Ever since you interviewed Chris Waller last year, you've now become an inflated view of your own importance. The whole nation will not be watching on Friday night.
Cox Plate?
Yes.
Yeah. Race number 8 is the final heat of the NRM Sires Stakes. Spankham's there, outstanding when he last raced, first up and third, but the All-Stars have a huge advantage here numerically. Barrier draw's really interesting though. Aloka gets off good. Ultra Maestro, I don't think there'll be any going back at the start.
Gets his chance to go forward and lead, but gee, there'll be some pressure here. Spankham will get going. The Dorchester's got to get going.
Here's that heat I was talking
Spankham's
about.
in the final. This was the other heat. Spankham's in the final. The Dorchester's not. He's got to get going. Spankham was excellent. Fresh up. Chase Auckland, who wins this, and the Devil's Own, who runs second, actually both going to a support race. So
there's all you need is Faith out wide, finishing 4th as well. So a similar spot, 3rd or 4th, would get him in, you would think.
I hope the Dorchester gets in because it'll add to the race.
Yeah, he's going to have his work cut out from the outside second row, though.
You're right.
That will not be easy. I know he's got Spankham back there with him, but it will not be easy to come wide in that race.
You are correct.
Going to be a deep, deep race, isn't it? The NRM Sire Stakes final at Group 1 level. Spankham has shortened Michael into $3.40. So he is the favourite there. The Devil's Own at $4.50. Chase Auckland. Gee, there'll be a few prepared to take that, I'd say. I know you're not big on this market. American Brave, if you got the 26, now $7. And King of Swing, already a Group 1 performer.
Actually got out to $14, King of Swing, which was backable, now back in. Barrier draws are going to be crucial, but they may not be the winning of the race. This is one of the races of the season.
Michael, Have Faith in Me, who won this race, there's a little bit about him about Think About Me. I know it's hard to compare because Think About Me's only had one run, but to do that at Alexandra Park first up, that was quite exceptional. There's a good drive coming for someone because
is he going to win the side?
They can have 6 or 7
at his third start.
At his second start.
Well, he must have another one between. Surely.
When?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I've been doing other things.
He won't be because Addington's this week.
Then what could
There's a
run
Rangi or a
home?
Twilight on the Friday night. He won't be having another start.
So he's okay. Well, in that case, he's not going to win.
Okay.
Although Party On did it. Party On won a Group 1 and a second start.
Yeah, that harness Jules. Okay, best bets. Here we go.
Now, about this debacle last week, and I'm furious about this. My horse got scratched again, and your horse ran second, and you're trying to claim it as a win.
No,
but clearly,
I had Winks.
No, you didn't have Winks. You go into a negative column.
Here's Winks.
Winks was
place.
good.
Yeah.
What a great race this was. Well done to the Carter boys too, and to Rachel Carter with Humidor. They finished second. Gee, she's a great mare. The coverage was outstanding. Outstanding.
Okay, getting back to it, you won.
Sorry, okay, I won. So basically, because my horse was scratched, but yours was a negative because you're on Shenandoah, who ran second. So we're 2-2. We're playing
2-2 and you've had two
match play
scratches.
golf.
You're a joke.
Gentleman Sir is off 55 metres at Manawatu tomorrow. This is the only time in the entire history of my life I'm going to tip a horse off 55 metres at Manawatu.
Oh, cool. It should pay $1.30.
I don't care what it pays. It'll still win.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's going to head to Australia.
You said something last week.
Lou Driver is going to is sending it to Australia. Tim Butt's going to train it.
Yeah, Nürburgring. Not an easy name to say, but at least my one should pay $4 at least. And that's worth having something
That's
on.
a Formula One track, Gregory. Did you know that?
Oh, I do now. I might use that Friday night. That'll make me sound really intelligent.
So basically you've got one job on Friday night is to go to people and find some information for us to make some money because we need some money. It's Cup Week, it's coming up. There's people who are sitting home there at Invercargill and they're driving up the Cup Week and they're going to have a big old week and probably have a couple rum and cokes. Your job is to make us some money. And if you can't do that, you're not coming on the show next week.
The All-Stars have got at least 18 lining up there. It's got a premier feel to it this Friday night.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it should be an outstanding night.
Just about next the Cup Week. Cup trials next Wednesday, so we're having a show next Wednesday which is going to show you the Cup trial. Lazarus will probably be there and a couple of others. Tiger Tara is racing Saturday night at Menangle. He'll almost certainly be there. Cup Field comes out on Wednesday morning with the barrier draw. So then the tab will close it Tuesday night, reopen the Cup Field as final field betting. My advice, if you want to have a big plunge on Laz, wait till then. Because if you get scratched and you're in the futures market, Kaputski, wife won't be happy, but if you get scratched in the final field market, you get your money back. Not saying he'll get scratched.
Just want to clarify something about the Kiwi Punters Championship. You didn't get it wrong. Addington have contacted all those involved. On the show day, their $5,000 must be invested on the 12 races at Addington. So it's not across. They don't have the technology to track it.
I told everybody last week, and as it turns out I was wrong, it was on the greyhounds and the gallops, but apparently that rule's been changed now because they can't track it.
Yep, that's right.
So if you are in the Kiwi Punters Challenge on the 17th, you basically have to bet at Addington.
All right, news out this week as well. Our very own Jess Smith, she is leaving trackside after 10 years, heading back to harness racing New Zealand. Of course, she used to produce the show and produced and hosted it.
And then hosted it, yeah, for a long time, and a pioneer for female coverage and broadcasting on harness racing. So well done to Jess for all the time she's been here at trackside and off to harness racing New Zealand, where she'll be a huge asset. I believe she made a stack of money for a function she organised for retiring horses. That's
right.
About 6 weeks ago.
Stand up for standardbreds.
That's a really cool thing. So good luck in the new part of your career, Jess.
All right, what about for you? What does the rest of the week entail?
I'm looking forward to Flemington. I'm looking forward to that carnival there, and then I'm looking forward to it being over so we can get into Cup Week. But what I'm really excited about now is, and don't get me wrong, there's only one Winks. But we've now got a little bit of Winks magic about Lazarus. And heading into the Cup, there'll be that sort of build-up. Nothing as big as Winks. I'm not being silly, but there's a little bit of that. And who knows? Maybe he can win the Cup this year, and maybe he could come back next year and try and win a third one. Of course, there's a lot ahead for us in the next couple of weeks. It's moving month in harness racing, Greg. A lot of things happen at the start of November. By the start of December, they've totally changed.
Exactly. That's been your box seat. We'll see you live next week when we'll be looking at the Cup trial. Enjoy your harness racing week ahead.
Peace.